Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for joining me this video, and today we're going to be looking at the fantastic brand new Alfa Romeo Giulia QV. I'm going to call it the QV. It's I think it's Quadrifoglio or something, but basically the racing version, the top end version, the best version of this car that you can actually get. This is a rival to the BMW M3, and the question is, as we drive it around today, we have an M3 in Assetto Corsa, we have this car in Assetto Corsa. The big question is, can it rival an M3? So we're going to find that out. As you can see, I have head tracking once again on. I should be having head tracking on now in every single video, at least for the foreseeable future. However, the driving in this video isn't going to be all too great, but anyway, still drivable, still pretty good, definitely not worth a reshoot. Specifications for this car: this has a twin turbo V8 engine delivering 510 horsepower or 505 brake horsepower, 600 newton meters of torque, or if you want to convert that to imperial measurements, I think that equates to about 445 pound-feet of torque or thereabouts. Weighs 1,595 kilograms, and it does have a top speed of 191 miles an hour, I believe. 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds. This is a manual gearbox. It has a 6-speed manual gearbox. There is a paddle shift version available, but this one comes with the H pattern, which I think is absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best things to be on this car, particularly as if you buy this car in the UK, you can't get it with a H pattern unless you import it, which is a bit of a problem, given that we drive on the other side of the road to mainland Europe, and therefore our cars have to be right-hand drive, not left-hand drive, and you can only get this car in left-hand drive. So there you go. That's a little bit of a bug that I have, or a little bit of an annoyance I have with the real car. But anyway, that 2.9 litre V6 twin turbo is pretty good. This is one brilliant car. I mean, the power to weight ratio of this car is better than an M3. Its chassis is built, it seems more stable than an M3. It's really nice, and the fact that it's rear-wheel drive, they haven't gone for a four-wheel drive system. They've gone, no, this car is going to be a rear-wheel drive. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a rear-wheel drive with an engine in the front, just like the M3 has. So the question is, does it work out and does it perform like an M3, especially if it's got 50-50 weight distribution? That's another fact about this car. 50-50 weight distribution. I mean, it's so good, and on top of that, it's got an active aero front splitter. So if you have a look at the front of the car, you'll see a few carbon slots, and you'll see a carbon slot right at the bottom. When it gets to about 60, I think it's 60 miles an hour. I think when it gets to 60 miles an hour, this starts opening up. So it's got some sort of active aero, similar to what we had last week in the Lamborghini. We had the active aero, the ALA system on the Lamborghini. This actually has active aero, and as you can see, I am understeering majorly. I am going to get to talking about that very shortly, but I just want to try and put the point across that Alfa Romeo, they used to make fantastic cars. They haven't made fantastic cars for quite some time. This is possibly the first fantastic car they've made. It really is the first fantastic car they've made in a long time, and I think it's really good. So let's talk about what this car is like in Assetto Corsa, and then obviously, is it like an M3? So in Assetto Corsa, modeling and texturing, do we have to cover? I don't think we have to. The modeling especially, it looks absolutely accurate to the actual car. Brilliant all the way around, and I must say this car really does look very nice. I must admit, I find the front of the car, the long nose is fine, but then sort of the front half of the car, between the front of the bonnet, or sorry, the back of the bonnet, so where the windscreen starts, and the front sort of, I think it's called the B-pillar or C-pillar, which would be where the doors join. That part seems a little bit squished. That's just my personal opinion. It just looks a little bit squished to me. Maybe it's because it's just got such a long front end compared to the rest of the car that it looks squished like this. But it also reminds me a little bit of the Jaguar XE. It does have a few stylings from that. It doesn't look like an M3. It doesn't seem to have the styling cues from an M3. It looks a lot more like a Jaguar. But Assetto Corsa, Kunos have really modeled this to perfection. It really looks great texture wise, also looks fantastic inside. You can see as I look around, it looks really good. That shift indicator in the middle of the dashboard is a weird one, but there we go. I completely ignored it the whole way through. But everything's nice and clear, everything's very functional, and it didn't break down, so, you know, maybe there's a little bit of a trick here. Alfa Romeo have worked out how to make a car without breaking down. Colours, it comes with 2 red colours, black, grey, 2 silvers, and a blue. I've got one of the reds, the red with the red calipers and the sort of metallic grey wheels is what I've chosen. There are other colours available like I mentioned, but we really need to talk about sounds and physics here. Sound wise, it sounds great from the outside. It's a V6, it's a low revving V6, or at least it feels and sounds low revving. It does go up to 7,500 ish, but it does sound low revving. It's burbling outside, you can hear the turbo spool up. It really does, it does feel really nice, and it sounds really nice. But inside, when you change gear, it just sounds a little bit dead. I don't know why, it sounds a little bit dead, and it feels like the manual gearbox is shifting very quickly. You really have to get into another gear almost immediately. It doesn't, the rev hang on it is almost non-existent. It just drops. I mean, you can just see that there. It really does drop. We've moved on to the physics now, but this is something I haven't experienced. Audis have a lot of rev hang. BMWs have a lot of rev hang. I've experienced this in real life. You know, and in Assetto Corsa they also have rev hang. This car does not have rev hang, and it's really neat. I do like that. The car rides well, the car rides the curbs well, it takes on bumps like a champion. The only thing I don't like about the car is its tendency to understeer through sort of higher speed corners. As you can see here, I was trying to get the car to sort of loosen itself and get the back end kicking out. I just couldn't do it. It has so much grip, and that tends to lead to understeer for some reason. And for a rear-wheel drive car, the understeers, it just felt a bit weird. It really did feel a little bit weird. But as you can see, eventually I started getting the hang of it. So you can see a bit of a drift there. And the way I did that was, you really have to pitch that nose forward and throw it hard into a corner. It's very hard to break traction on those rear wheels, and you do end up with the understeering. At this point, I actually just missed a gear. So like I said, not the best of driving. But yeah, it's, as a car, I must say it was really nice to drive. Comparing it to a BMW, well, I don't know, the BMW feels a little bit more flamboyant. The BMW, which is odd because this is an Italian car, but the BMW feels a little bit more playful. It feels a little bit more on edge, while this car doesn't feel nowhere near as on edge all the time. But what it does do is, it feels, I think, what's the right word for this? I'd say it's not very aggressive. The BMW M3 is quite aggressive, but this is not as aggressive. This is a little bit more tame. This is a little bit more predictable, I think. And it's really odd. I think it's really odd, and you have a little bit of a chance to recover when you make a mistake, unlike the BMW where it just throws you out. This doesn't, and it's nice to feel that. And I think Alfa Romeo have done a really good job there. I do wonder how, in a very tight and twisty section, as you saw earlier, I was through a more twistier section, it wasn't as great to drive as a BMW, but generally it's pretty good. I'd want to see what it's like on extended, maybe somewhere like Lake Louise or something. I might take this out again, but for this I've got to give them again, it's going to be a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. It's really well done by Kunos, and of course that half mark is just my personal preference. It's a very good car. It really is a very good car, and as you can hear, when you're in the lower rev ranges, it's so quiet. So they've really simulated it in a way that you know it's one of those cars that are designed for the road as well as for the racetrack. And I think Alfa Romeo have done a fantastic job with this car. I would love to drive this car in real life. I really would. But that is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. If you're watching this on Twitch, thumbs up and a follow please. And don't forget to support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. Your support would be massively appreciated, and any amount you do give will give you access to my Discord server, where there is a nice growing community who actually do enjoy talking about cars. So there we go. I'll leave you guys with a little bit of a look around, and I will see you guys next time, where I don't know what car I'm going to take a look at, but it'll certainly be one of the cars from bonus pack. It'll certainly be one of the cars from bonus pack 3. I'll see you guys next time.